Are you ready for the good times?
Welcome everyone to another edition of Guy After Dark. Today we have Shabnam's favorite people in the world, Bad Boy. No. Sorry, Bad Boy Billionaires.
Ooh, even better.
Yeah, you don't need the billionaires, right? You just need the bad boy. The bad boy.
Oh man, I think the bad boy without the billionaire is kind of pretty lame.
Yeah, I mean, a bad boy could just be a guy on a motorcycle, right? He picks up his date. He looks super suave. He has like a chain. He has like a leather vest without sleeves on. That could be a bad boy. It doesn't mean some ladies are into that, right? He doesn't have to be a billionaire.
You mean if he looks like a bad boy, but he's not necessarily is a bad boy? That's good too.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, let's get into this bad boy. So today we are reviewing Bad Boy Billionaires India, a Netflix original. It was released in 2020, but I can say this right now, not much has changed since 2020. So wherever this gets left off, that is kind of where we are chilling. This billionaire is Vijay Mallya. And let's do this. Instead of me describing who he was, anyone that's listening to this, but maybe you haven't watched the episode in full detail, turn the episode on. Get to 2 minutes, and then really start paying attention. And then when you get to 2 minutes and 9 seconds, pause that shit. And there's gonna be a haircut. There's gonna be a haircut in your face. And this man is like 65 years old at this time. And tell me he isn't guilty with that fucking haircut. So
is it a mullet? I didn't catch that.
Is it a haircut even? Like, or was it like an iRobot thing? His clippers came to life in the middle of the night. But this dude has money. You know what haircut I'm talking about, right?
No.
Oh, Shabnam. You got to look at the rest.
Okay. Oh, damn.
Oh, damn is right.
Why do rich Indian men always try to look like cowboys?
That seems to be what we point out almost every single time we talk about somebody that's brown and over the age of 38 years old.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's like rocker on the sides.
Yeah.
Redneck in the back.
Hey, bigger the front, bigger the back.
Bigger the back. Oh, man.
I mean, hey, you saw that haircut, right? You tell me this guy's not going to get patted down by TSA if they saw him like walking up. If he's not wearing a suit and he has that haircut in like some shorts and a wife beater, that guy's going to get pulled aside by TSA. So this guy made the conscious decision while owing $1 billion to the Indian government to go out with that haircut and defend his innocence. I don't know, dude. So this guy's guilty. 2 minutes.
Yeah. I feel like he thinks that he has enough money to have that haircut and still be declared innocent. Like, that's some kind of shit where it's like, I have so much power in this world. I'm just going to do some crazy shit and still expect everything to be fine. That's literally what he's doing.
Yeah. And you're totally correct, because this series starts with that haircut, and that haircut is the most obscene thing I've seen in this series until 2 minutes, 9 seconds. And then it makes sense why he has that haircut. Because this guy is just DJ Uncle from, Imrani Mukherjee. I bet this guy actually ran in that crew, right?
Probably.
Like,
yeah,
I would
actually,
be very surprised if they didn't know each other.
I bet they know each other.
Right.
So the whole thing starts with Vijay Mallya's 50th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this uncle is called Vijay Mallya, and he has like this huge 50th birthday bash, and all these Bollywood celebrities are there, and Lionel Richie sings at his 50th birthday, and he's on top of the world. And then we get this backstory of how his father had this huge alcohol business, but it was really underground because post-partition, Gandhi was full on prohibition. He felt like alcohol was like a white thing that the colonizers brought. And so he was like, fuck that shit. It's not ours. It's not part of our culture, and no alcohol allowed. And so India like didn't have alcohol until Vijay Mallya's dad decided to bring back some of the alcohol culture. And he became a really successsul businessman. Was he the one that started the pub, or Vijay started the pub?
Vijay started the pub. Yeah, Vijay started the pub. Yeah. So all the branding and everything, they barely get into the dad, and it's different. It's United Brewing, and then Vijay's the one that goes Kingfisher.
Okay. So Vijay's dad basically his brand is called, like you said, United Brewing. And then all of a sudden when Vijay's 28, his dad gets really really sick and dies of a heart attack. Right? But it's like super sudden and Vijay has to take over the business, but the Vijay's personality is like super different than his dad's. His dad's was like, I'm going to stay underground and be like really subtle and stay out of the limelight because one of my biggest money makers is selling alcohol, which is not really, something that's accepted in society. So he took that route. Vijay was the complete opposite. He was like into Formula One and was like a huge attention whore,
Yeah.
basically.
No, I know.
And
It's kind of funny. It's like the dad started United Brewing. He did make a ton of money, even though alcohol culture wasn't as pervasive because there's so many fucking people in India and they do drink. It's not like, it's not super against the religion. It was super against the constitution that Gandhi wanted to
yeah,
implement because of the anti colonial bias. But it's kind of funny. This kid, like, he just grew up around alcohol, right? So
yeah,
I don't know what his childhood was like because they don't get into it, but I can just imagine him being a complete shithead. Like
yeah.
I'm gonna like, hey, this is the paid fee. Thank you, listeners. So I know how these South Asian boys can get, right? When they're spoiled, they're pretty spoiled, right? Like, and nothing they can do is wrong, right? So I can see how this guy became who he is.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that too. And so he ended up at 28 now needing to take on his father's business, but he was basically taking it on with a whole new culture and his
Mhm.
own attention whore personality. So he gets in charge of the company and he saw an opportunity to change the public opinion on alcohol. So he recognizes that the social air of a British pub would actually do really well in Bangalore because of the tech scene and a lot of young people. So the first pub started in the mid 1980s and they started selling draft beer and it was super super successful. People would say give me a Kingfisher instead of like give me a beer. So it became like so synonymous with alcohol, which is actually really bad legally for your trademark because that's what we call trademark dilution. But anyways, we don't need to like go
But
into
that's
law
what
school
they
class right now.
no, but that's what they get into, right? So
Yeah.
instead of trademark dilution, he was saying it's like surrogate advertising. So they couldn't advertise alcohol. There's alcohol is not allowed to be advertised in India whatsoever. And also in the United States, actually, you can't advertise alcohol while drinking, right? Snoop
What?
Dogg is just, yeah. Snoop
You
Dogg is
can't
holding,
advertise
yeah.
alcohol.
You can't have drinkers.
Oh.
You can't have drinkers. They just
Oh,
hold the
interesting.
beer on the beach, right? Like
Oh, that's
Snoop
crazy.
Dogg in a Corona commercial, right? Or George Clooney holding a glass of tequila, his tequila. He's holding it.
I didn't even know that. That's
Sorry.
weird.
Hey,
Why?
welcome to Sameem's advertising corner. I don't know why. I think it's because there's probably some regulations, same regulation that probably puts warning labels on cigarettes. I don't know.
That's wild. I
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It's kind of strange, right? Like I think this country's so dumb that people don't know that you can actually drink the alcohol, right? If you're holding it. So if if you see someone drink it, you're more likely to drink it. I don't know. That might be true.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, India constitution alcohol was banned. These guys could not like advertise. So like you said, he
But
ended
the
up
not advertising came later,
that
right?
came no, that came right away because Kingfisher beer was like his thing, and he was already well. You're totally correct. The pubs came in like 1983 or something, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dad wasn't advertising because he couldn't. So then they had to build a brand around it. So they started to do surrogate advertising, Kingfisher soda, which looked like a
Mhm.
Kingfisher beer. That's actually pretty smart. Like,
Yeah, because if
yeah.
you like Kingfisher soda, you're going to be like, hey, let me try Kingfisher beer if you're
Yeah.
into beer, right? But another interesting thing is the pubs were actually safe for women. So that
Mhm.
was a huge thing because women would actually want to hang out there, which is unusual,
Yeah, they
I
said
think.
that. That was kind of interesting. Yeah.
Uh,
It looked very like pre-Iran revolution 1979. Like that's what it looked like. And even though it was India in the 80s. And then I did notice like a little scenes like when they cut from like pub to like a different scene, they would show like streets of India from the 80s in a little video. Look a lot cleaner. Looked a lot cleaner than today. It looked so
yeah.
much cleaner. I know the population's exploded in the last 50 years, but still, you can see the effects of population growth. It's kind of wild, but they made a great point. also in that same vein, that's when India was turning into a consumerism society. So
Yes. Yeah.
Kingfisher brand, that's how it became so popular because it was at the right time in
Yeah.
a demographic change, basically. I don't know. India's history obviously is complicated. Industrial revolution, colonialism, wars, blah, blah, blah. Finally get independence in 1948. And yeah, it probably wasn't a huge consumerism thing going on in the 50s and 60s while India was developing as a country. So Kingfisher. It's kind of strange,
Yeah.
right? A little fucking bird.
Yeah, it is strange. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's also very innocuous. So maybe that's what they thought. They're like, oh, this harmless, cute little bird. Maybe that'll help us get like on the good side of the nannies and daddies or something. I don't know.
It's a little fishing bird, like it fishes. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I know they call it kingfisher, but it's like, as described by Google, it's a small to medium sized bird. So, at best, he was emulating a big bird. No, not a big bird, a medium
Interesting.
bird. So, yeah, I don't know what he was, I don't know what was cool about Kingfisher, but there was a Kingfisher retail company in London. I think they have like 1,300 stores actually. So, I don't know what
Wow.
came first, the Kingfisher, Kingfisher retail, Kingfisher beer.
That's funny. Interesting.
We don't need to make this into a history lesson, sorry, or a lawyer lesson. But hey, like we said, it's all off the top of the head, right? Let us get our thoughts out.
Yeah. Plus, this is paid feed. So there you go.
Yeah, I know who's listening.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is right. So they did all these like surrogate advertising, right? But the interesting thing is that basically Vijay Mallya was trying to create a lifestyle, like basically like a brand that represented a lifestyle of like luxury and enjoyment and all
Hmm.
that. And so he did all these, like you said, what kind of marketing was it called?
Advertising, surrogate
Yeah,
advertising.
surrogate advertising. Yeah, where he like, advertised Kingfisher soda and he advertised Kingfisher. I think there was even boats with like sails on it and stuff that were Kingfisher
Yeah,
branded.
there's
So
so
he was
much
like
stuff.
selling a lifestyle and then part of it was alcohol and alcohol was a big money maker. And he had these really great pubs that people kind of use as like a third space, if you will.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I think it started out as a good idea.
Yeah, and they show him as like this like up and coming figure, sort of like Donald Trump, I guess, in the 80s, like coming up and taking on debt. And that ends up becoming the majority of this story is his willingness to take on debt to grow his companies at any cost. So it was more of a vanity project, right? Everything that he was doing was he got the beer business from the dad, typical, I don't know, like he was an inheritance baby, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't I don't think he was as smart as everyone thought he was. He fucking blew everything up, right?
Yeah.
And he made some good choices. The advertising was the best, right? Like if you
Yeah.
can't actually advertise alcohol, then yeah, surrogate advertising is the way to go. But that dude was strange, man. And like I said, that haircut in the beginning's got to tell you everything you need to know. Like if you end up like that, what the fuck were you doing the previous 65 years? You know,
Seriously. So then they go onto this helicopter ride. So, like, why did they go on this helicopter ride? Do you know?
it's a 45-minute helicopter ride that they did. That's what the EA said, his executive assistant. And she's like, I all of a sudden heard the engine rumbling and we just went down. And then when they show a picture of the helicopter, it's on his side and it wasn't crumpled, obviously. So then they show him hop out and he says he has a new taste for life. And I think it's to show this is where the airline comes into that he wants to treat everyone with respect with no economy class versus no first class. So I don't know
Yeah.
the significance of why they showed the helicopter crash other than to like show like somewhat of a story. Like we've done a few of these,
Yeah.
right? And
Hmm.
like the Roshans had their personal tragedies. So I think this is
Yeah.
just what they could come up with. Like they
Yeah.
don't talk
I,
about his wife or anything. And like, look, hey, if he did something to somebody in terms of like domestic abuse or something, that would have been in this episode, right? So I think it's
yeah.
just the
Yeah.
most sensationalized thing they could find.
Interesting. And I think also it gave people the perception that, like, wow, he's something amazing. He survived this crazy helicopter crash, which is kind of just seems like obviously that was like a freak
Yeah.
accident.
It's like a larger than
Yeah.
life thing, right? So he's already a
Yeah.
larger than life figure. That's what they're saying. He's not human. Basically, everybody that came across him were just like, oh my God, he's just like a huge figure that they could never aspire to. So yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the immortal kind of thing. And then he also said, typical, like, we got to use the people's beliefs against them, essentially. He said that he had a lease. He didn't say he had a lease. He's like, I have a second life now, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of reincarnation themes in Hindu culture. So I could see what he was doing. He was trying to like
Yeah.
still brand himself.
Yeah, and brand himself as like you said, kind of immortal, larger than life and all that. Maybe that's why he got that haircut too. He thought that was went along with that.
I mean, I don't know. You can't have everything, right? So
Yeah.
maybe that's that was his way of showing humility. He's like, "Look, I'm gonna get the most fucked up haircut." It's kind of like, and it's sort of like Donald Trump. Like he like holds on to that haircut, like it's like, okay, I'm not gonna fix this. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's funny.
go for it, VJ. King of good
So,
times, right? King of good times. So all this
yeah, that's what
alcohol
they called
stuff,
him.
he was the king of good times. They don't really say what the king of good times was, but we know what it was since he's always surrounded by pretty women, right?
Yeah.
Almost every montage they showed was him, I don't know, womanizing, I guess.
Yeah, and he built a phenomenal empire and was one of the biggest liquor producers in the world. But like he wanted more. He was greedy. He couldn't just be happy with that. So he wanted to be the biggest, the brightest, the smartest, and all that. And then we meet Alex Wilcox. So Alex Wilcox basically is a guy from Dallas. And he said he had a friend from Sausalito that said, Vijay Mallya wants to talk to you. So then a white guy named Alex
Yeah.
Wilcox says he called Vijay on the phone and Vijay said, Alex, this is Vijay Mallya and I want to meet you. I was like, did he just do an Indian accent?
I don't know, right? Because he says, my friend from Sausalito called me. Then he says, because VJ wanted to meet him through the friend, but then he says he called me anyways. So I was like,
Yeah.
what do you, I don't get it. And then he's like, I got on a plane. I went straight to Sausalito. So it seems like he went that same day. He's like, I went to Southwest because Dallas is a huge Southwest hub.
So this was such a weird take because he does an Indian accent. I was like, what the hell? Only I can do it.
Did he do an Indian accent? Hey,
I swear. Okay. You have to pause and you have to go
okay,
listen
let
to
me
that
see. Hold
now.
on.
Okay. And then
Like,
the other weird thing is he mentions, so then I flew Southwest and it's like, is this a Southwest commercial now? Like, what is happening? It was such a weird take.
So I think he was an executive at Southwest. That's why he lived in Dallas. Because Southwest, like I said, is a hub
Oh.
of in Dallas. It's huge. American
So
Airlines and Southwest. So yeah, I think he was like, I don't think he was plugging Southwest. I think that's the only way he knows how to get to Sausalito. Hold on, let me find this Mr. Man doing a BJ impersonation.
you have to. Yeah.
While I find it, there was something around the surrogate advertising that they talked about, and I'm going to put that jingle in. They had their own jingle that took over India. Remember?
Oh,
Ooh la
yeah.
la. How did
Something
it
like
go?
that.
I like wrote it down in my
Ooh,
notes.
la, li, la,
Yeah.
la, or
Yeah,
something. I don't
exactly.
know.
And then everybody
Yeah.
started dancing. Even Sid the son was dancing. Hey, we haven't touched on Sid yet, by the way, but why the fuck is this? Why is he in this series?
I don't know, but
Siddharth.
isn't he? Yeah, Siddharth.
Yeah.
He's older than I thought he would be for a dad that age.
Well, I mean, the dad's
But
69.
so if the
Yeah.
dad's 69, okay, that's not that weird if he was like 30 or
Oh,
something.
Siddharth looks like Rahul from Indrani Mukherjee's Story. Another model actor. He's a good looking guy. He looked super douchey 20 years ago, like in his late teens, early 20s, when they were showing the 50th birthday party. But he was defending
Dude,
his
you're
dad
so
throughout
right.
it, right?
He probably hung out with Rahul in
He's a London
Bombay
actor.
and Bangalore too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
he he was raised in London.
Yeah. It's
Okay, let me
crazy.
find this
Oh, you got it. You got to.
Alex Walker, Alex Wilcox, right?
Wilcox, yeah.
Shout out Alex Wilcox for getting himself into some model trouble with Kingfisher Airlines. Dude, you didn't think to run when you saw a bunch of Indian women not in saris and short skirts, and he's like, I'm all up about this. Let's go. And he went to India to become the CEO. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of weird. Your entire business model is models?
Also, no, okay. What I think is the craziest thing about this is you're going to India to start an airline and you want to make everybody the same class. That's literally the definition of Desi culture is that we want to make everyone different classes and separate into our different tribes and see who has more and who has less. So,
Yeah.
like, I mean, that was like a doomed idea from the start.
Yeah, that's a great point, and everybody please hold on to that point that Shabnam just said, because there's like this he was a strange dude. Like we said, after the helicopter crash, he said that he had a new lease on life, right? He had a second
Yeah.
life. So he wanted to create this airline that everybody can access. But then what does he do at the end?
Yeah.
Right? He does the worst thing that anybody can do, right? And he deserves
Yeah.
to get arrested and go to jail.
So Alex Wilcox basically said that when he first met Vijay Mallya had gold jewelry and survived a helicopter crash. He was just like this larger than life personality because he looked like basically like a desi Mr. T who survived a helicopter crash. And, and then he said that Vijay Mallya told him that Kingfisher Airlines is going to be successful because India has a rising middle class, like Sameem said, that's larger than the entire population of the US.
Yeah.
And they're all starting to be consumers. And it's like the rise of the consumer class, and they're ready to be his customers. So the idea was to have an airline that would fly domestic. It would be pretty nice, but there was no differentiation between class, which, like I said, is
That's like
culturally
Southwest,
never
right?
going to happen.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think it could have made sense in India, and it did make sense for a while because it did have a very positive welcoming in the
Yeah.
India consumer society. So I think it worked out pretty well. But like all of it, like his ego got in the way, right? He was
Yeah.
trying to put fucking gold bathrooms into airplanes. Like that's not
Yeah.
specifically what he was doing, but he was almost there. He was trying to make
Yeah.
these airplanes look like, gaudy.
Trump
Like,
Tower.
hey, so we're from the Bay, right? And Fremont, California, right? That has all those halls that people get married in. Those gold and red chairs.
Royal Palace.
Royal Palace, shout out. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know, Mehran. Hey,
Tehran's not nice on the inside.
I can just make some shit up. Dallas, California, they have Golden Peacock out there. Golden Peacock Afghan Lounge, right? They have those
Yeah.
red and gold chairs. That's
Yeah.
what the airline looked like. It looked like the
Yeah.
lobby of these palaces, fake palaces, halls that we used to get married at.
Yeah. And he even says at one point to Alex, you can use any color you want as long as it's red. Like he really wanted it to be red.
Surprised he didn't say gold. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let me listen to this. Hold on. Alex, my name is Vijay Mallya, and I would like to meet you tonight. That's what he did.
That's
That's what he did. That's what he
Didn't
did.
he?
This
I
white guy
swear.
just appropriated. He just took Shabnam's role. Hey, Alex Walker,
Wilcox.
Alex Jones, hit us up. We need your accents. Come by, Apu from The Simpsons. We need you, bro.
Oh man,
That was
that was like
DJ.
the best
Yeah,
best part. That was like one of the best parts of the documentary. I was
yeah,
like, what
that
the
was a good
hell? Did he
DJ.
just do that?
Wow. Hey, I don't know. Like, does he do that in front of his boss? That was very showman Steve Banerjee vibes
I
from the
know.
Chippendales. What was that?
I don't know, man. But like I'm about ready to like reach out to him to get him on the podcast just to do the accent.
Yeah. Hey, he ain't working. He ran that airline to the ground, right? So he was CEO.
Yeah.
Hey, it wasn't him. It was VJ. He
Yeah.
does leave, right? He leaves. He says once they start.
Well,
getting
yeah.
all
So like he
finicky.
first, yeah.
He's
So
there
he
for a while
first
though.
like, yeah, he gets on board. He's like, you know what? Let's launch this. This is a great idea. The idea that they started with,
Mhm.
right? And then the actual launch is like super produced, and all his job is to just
Yeah.
come out and wave and get out of the way so that Vijay can be like the star of the show. And he says it started with a bang. And then we see the head of the flight stewardesses, and she's like, they had like a fitness plan for the flight attendees. Like they had to work out and they had to look a certain way and they could only eat certain things. And then we even see like Siddharth Malya saying like, this airline was basically his baby, which is kind of sad for your kid to
It's
say.
his baby saying that's his baby.
Yeah.
Right? And I did
Yeah.
write that down. I'm glad you brought it up. He said it's his baby. He incubated it and he nurtured it. Shots
That's
fired.
what his son said?
That's what he said. Shots fired at
Oh.
his dad in a very subtle way.
Oh, you know how Desi's like to be passive aggressive
Oh,
shit,
he was
man.
he was passive and he was aggressive. So yeah, you're totally correct, man. Incubated an airline. Okay. Sorry, Sid.
Yeah, I know. It was he was like, my dad had a womb for
I
this
know.
airline, and he
Hey,
didn't for
I
me.
don't know if I know Richard Branson does have a ton of kids, right? That billionaire Australian guy. He
Mhm.
did the same shit.
Yeah.
Virgin Airlines, right? And he did pretty well, and Alaska Airlines actually ended up buying them. He didn't want to sell it, right? Because he wanted to retain control, but I haven't heard of that guy.
I mean, billionaires' kids don't really seem to like them. Like, I don't think any one of Elon's many children like him either, right? So
I think billionaires
They-
are a very strange class of people in general, right? So it's kind
yeah.
of hard to like weird people. And if your daddy's a weirdo, then your daddy's a weirdo, right? You got to like,
Yeah.
you probably have to do more work on yourself to be able to hang out with a billionaire daddy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Jeez.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but billionaires seem to be some of the most interesting people in the world. And I don't use interesting in like in a very good way, right? So
Yeah, and not the good parents, that's for sure. But
I don't know. I mean, look, hey, VJ, this could be Saxon, right? Saxon had a very VJ upbringing.
that's true.
So this
Yeah.
could be like when VJ does it, then it's like, and they make this point at the end, and I don't agree with the point, but they're like he shouldn't be in prison or jail because so many other billionaires have done this. But it's like, okay, so a petty thief, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't
Yeah.
have to go to jail because people have stolen more than him. So whatever. Like, yeah, billionaires are fucking weirdos. Elon Musk, he's not even a billionaire. He's just like
He's just a fucking weirdo.
he's just a fucking weirdo. Yeah, I
Yeah.
at some point it's like you only want to be defined by one thing, and that's money. If you remove it, then I understand the whole point is that it doesn't get removed, and that's what happened to VJ. He's like, they can never take, they can't take my
Yeah.
freedom.
But imagine some of these people that have a lot of money. If they didn't have the money, they would probably be like committed.
They'd be sociopaths. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
I think it's tough, right? Like Bill Gates probably spends a lot of PR money on his image, right?
Mhm.
And he probably has the
Mhm.
best image, and he still got caught fucking Microsoft interns, right?
Yeah.
And then he regrets it. He's like on People magazine just this year saying
Yeah.
how his biggest failure was not maintaining the marriage. And it's just like, we talked about it on Muslim Matchmaker, right? It's just like, you want someone that can put up with your shit, and she could put up with his shit and he still like dicked around, right? So I don't
Yeah.
know. Like billionaires can do whatever they want. Also, what am I saying, dude? Everyone cheats. Like, I mean, every class
Yeah.
cheats. Like, not everyone cheats.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so basically Alex Wilcox starts getting suspicious all along, but what really tips him over the edge of being like, this is a fucked up situation is in June 2005, they go to France.
Mhm.
And they go to France basically to visit the company that they bought the planes from and for like Kingfisher Airlines. And then unbeknownst to Alex, it turns into a shopping spree
Yeah.
where Vijay starts buying like a whole bunch of planes and he ends up buying like billions of dollars worth of planes randomly.
Yeah.
And so,
And I
I
will say the initial fleet was 12 planes.
yeah.
And he wanted to like 10x it without even like just without a business plan. Just let's just grab up $65 million planes. They go through what the different planes were, but top was 95 million, which is probably 200 million today. So
yeah, it's crazy. So, at that point, like Alex starts getting really suspicious and there's no way that they can support this growth this fast. So obviously Vijay has to go to banks to get loans. And in India, the big money is only at the big national banks, which are owned by which is basically taxpayer money. And then it's basically public servants that work at them. And so he goes there and he kind of like charms these public servants and he offers to they kind of imply that maybe he bribes them. There's like corruption involved and he basically gets them to give him loans that maybe they had no business giving him and he gets all these loans. And so he subsidized his desires to grow this airline by borrowing money up the ass that he probably can't pay back. And so Alex says this is when the business model totally started changing from a low cost carrier for the middle class to something luxurious. And he was like, basically, I'm out because this isn't what I signed up for. And he takes Southwest back to Dallas.
He's gone. He's like, I'm back. I like how you touched on the opening party because you can see Alex in a kurta.
Yeah.
Like at on the airplane, like at the party and stuff. And then, but the Indian people are wearing suits. So it's like they're like appropriating each other. But
yeah, hilarious.
The initial gusto in the announcement was hilarious because the very first thing they say on the series, I don't know what happened in India in terms of marketing, but the first thing they say is, we hire models. That's it. That's it. That's all they said.
Oh man, that's
I don't
hilarious.
know. This guy got caught in a Hooter somewhere once in like Gary, Indiana.
Are you serious?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
Did he get caught in a fucking Hooters?
Yeah, probably.
And it's just like perpetrated his mind for life. And he's like, I'm going to hire hot models. And Hooters did have an airline in the United States that went bankrupt. Big surprise. Had a Hooters hotel. Big surprise. And now I think there might be some Hooters restaurants left, but those are going out of business. Also, Trump had an airline, didn't even last a year, 1995 to 1996. So a lot of copycat situations going here. It's just an ego stroke, right? Like
Yeah, let's let the
yeah.
airline people do airlines.
Yeah.
And just because you're rich doesn't mean you can do an airline.
So if you're like this rich, if you're like below a billion or 10 billion, I don't know what the cutoff is, then you do airlines. But if you have way more, then you do space stuff, right? You do spaceships.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it is.
So it's Elon
You
Musk, Jeff
know,
Bezos, and Richard Branson. They all have
once you
space companies. Yeah.
yeah, once you get enough money, then you can think outside of the earth.
Yeah. These guys
Yeah.
like, well, I Elon Musk subscribes to simulation theory, I think. You know what simulation theory is?
Yeah, that we're all in a fake world.
Yeah.
There's like we're all in the matrix basically.
Yeah. So the smartest man on
Yeah.
earth thinks that we're in a simulation. So, hey, if you feel yourself glitching, that's why. Everybody
Yeah.
just take a quick look at your, if your finger disappear, I don't know. And then they come back.
Okay,
Flicker.
can you imagine if you're poor and you
Mhm.
said that to a psychiatrist?
Hmm.
They probably like
Commit
put
you.
you on medication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You
if
know,
you're,
like
but if you have
it's
$200 billion, then you can say whatever you want.
yeah, then it's like maybe you're right. Who knows, right? Like it's just wild. This is a crazy time in a crazy place called Earth.
We already said it, right? If you're a petty thief, you don't have any mercy. But if you're a
Yeah,
billionaire, then you own the banks, right? It's the
exactly.
other way around. If you didn't repay your stuff, they're going to charge you every month.
Yeah. So let's see. Once Alex fucks off back to Dallas, Vijay decides he wants to put in a first class. And so you need more flight attendants for that. You need to like have meals and nicer meals. And so the whole business model changes. He even ends up putting in like a London to Bangalore route. And so he goes international, which this was supposed to be just a domestic air carrier. And so it's really interesting. And in the first year, he basically gets told by reporters, he's like, you lost 347 crore, which crore is $100,000 or
Mhm.
100,000, I should say. So they're like, you lost 347. So what would that be? 3
3,000
million.
3,000 crore or 300 crore?
So 347 crore, and a crore is 100,000.
So that's about 30-ish million.
Yeah, so you lost like $35 million.
Which is honestly, which is nothing at this point of the story. So
yeah,
this
I
is
guess,
this is like the beginning of when he starts
of his
to try
downfall.
to, yeah.
Yeah. So you lost 35 million rupees. And so they're like, will Kingfisher go belly up? And Vijay's like, it will never go belly up. Like, this is like those people that said the Titanic would never sink. And so, same story basically.
Weird. Yeah. It's just so strange. It's like it's just pure power, ego.
And ego. Yeah.
You can't admit anything's wrong. Come on, man. Like we see, hey, it's a small plane. It's a small bird. We already know that, right?
Yeah.
Small birds, you can't fly forever.
Yeah.
It's not a condor.
And so, yeah, but he doubles down, of course, Vijay, like, it's his ego, like you said. So he buys a Formula One team, he buys a cricket team. He's selling this brand lifestyle that he wanted to sell of luxury in the beginning, but it's slowly like getting eroded from the inside. So then we meet a guy named Neeraj Mehta, is it? Or Neeraj? I put Neeraj Mocha, but I think that's wrong. I don't think Mocha is part of his name. I think I was thirsty or something at this time. His name is Neeraj, though. And he met Vijay to look at financial statements because just the way that the airline was operating and the business was operating, he was like, this is really fucked up. And there doesn't seem to be any hope for this airline. So he analyzed the financial statements, and true enough, that was the truth. So Mallya just basically kept going to banks for more and more capital to like infuse capital into his business, but he wasn't managing it right. So this is just like a downward spiral into debt, basically.
Yeah. And this is a very common thing, right? You inflate your assets to get a larger loan amount, and then you deflate your assets to pay less taxes. It's so common. And in the United States, I guess it's practically legal because people are doing it. They're not getting arrested for it. So it's a huge real estate thing, right? Because you can buy a shit ton of property, hold it, say I own all this, valuate it at a crazy valuation, and take loans on it. And I think you're about to get to the branding part, right? So that's something that Trump does, right? Which is fine. He can do that. Like my brand is worth $4 billion. So pay me, whatever, 100 million a year for my Trump license on a hotel. So he takes that into consideration in his wealth, but it seems like a very common 2-step process, like get loans, live off those loans, and then make cash on your brand. Why not?
We should try to get a Chai After Dark loan for $2 million because I think our IP is worth $2 million.
Where's your leverage? Hey, thank you, everyone, by the way. Hey, we're paid. Everyone that's paid, honestly. Like, you guys are listening to us right now. We really do appreciate that. And why not? And we could talk a little bit more freely here. Though, White Lotus, we did talk a little bit freely on the free feed as well. But no, I mean, it's really nice to do this. So $2 million, maybe. What do you guys think? What's our brand? What's our brand worth?
Email us at chaiafterdark@chaiafterdark.com. But
also,
yeah, and thank you very much for using your Neeraj Mocha money on your subscription to us. We really appreciate it.
Shout out Mocha guy.
Yeah. So Neeraj basically creates this report where he says that, the state of this company is completely messed up. And Vijay obviously is like going to the media trying to say that there's so many things that are like a lie in this report, etc. But Neeraj breaks it down. Neeraj explains that Vijay was going to the banks and he was telling the banks they should depend on projected numbers of the business rather than actual numbers, which no legitimate banks actually do, nor should they. But he was, I think, just like paying off probably like the government workers that work there. And then, like you said, he also uses the brand value of Kingfisher to get loans as well, which is an intangible asset and it's not a tangible asset. So like legally, I don't know, like I'm surprised you say Trump does that. Not because I think Trump is a good person, but I just feel like the banks are heavily regulated in the US and I'm surprised that he would actually be able to use intangible asset.
That's why he goes to Deutsche Bank.
Oh, interesting.
These aren't American. We thought these were U.S. loans. Come on. He's literally on. Hey, this is, by the way, paid feed only. We're not talking politics here. We're literally just talking things that have happened in the past, right? So,
yeah.
Yes, he took loans from Deutsche Bank. I don't know if he's paid them back or not, but he also went to Russia for loans for his Scotland golf course. A lot of his business is external, right? So, like in Macau is like a small casino, like a micro city next to Hong Kong, or it's an island potentially. I'm not sure, but he has his casinos out there.
Yeah.
He has Trump branded properties out there, but they're not his properties, right? So he's selling the brand and he puts his like logo on it and they just pay him. So that's not his hotel. So I mean, that's fine. Like whatever.
Man, like let's put Chai After Dark logo on a resort, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, White Lotus.
Adults only, Chai After Dark. No.
Fake White Lotus, reach out for fake Chai After Dark sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh man, that's hilarious. So, anyways, the hole's getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah. No credit line for fuel. They had to start paying cash. So this is when they start look at the montage of really, really sad employees, cabin crew member that Shabnam referred to, and then a guy that was like super sweet and showing his family. These people haven't been paid in months. So yeah, this is where it gets like just straight up like not even corruption, but just like criminal, right? Like just willful criminal activity.
So he stops paying for fuel. So they're like, you need to give us cash. We're not going to give you a tab. Then he stops paying caterers for the food. So the flight attendants who are already on a fitness plan have to give up their food for the people that are for the guests. Yeah, for the airline guests. It's crazy. And then, like you said, he stops paying engineers. The engineers are getting upset. And
So they show a few infographics, right? So they do it really smartly. In 2005, they're like, okay, as Shabnam said, he went to the banks. He took $30 million. 2006, he takes $139 million. By 2011, he's taken $3 billion. So there's corruption somewhere. And that guy from Veritas that you mentioned, he makes a great point. He's like, it's either corruption, which is the third point he made, incompetence, or self-dealing. Somebody from the bank, which I also think is corruption. So I don't know. That's two different things, but it's fucking obvious. This guy just got handed $3 billion. He wasn't going to pay it back.
Yeah.
Well, obviously he wasn't because he didn't.
Who's that other rich guy in the cool jacket? He basically gets ripped off too by Vijay Mallya, but this is his attitude. He's
the
like,
fashion guy. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, you could be upset, but what do? You could say, I'll never talk to you again. but are you achieving anything by doing that? And it's like,
Dude, I
eh,
come on. I don't trust any. These are his friends, by the way, because he's not imprisoned. He
yeah.
went to the UK, and there's no treaty. Surprisingly, I thought there might have been a treaty because they're like colonial states, but I guess not. But yeah, that guy. That's a great point. They were like nice to him, right? Because
Yeah,
he's
they're
paying for shit.
everybody's like still like,
Yeah,
yeah.
come on,
There's
man.
something
They're
going on
getting
there.
paid. Like
Yeah.
they're getting paid to protect him. Even Sid, his son, is protecting him. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
So the engineer who didn't get paid, along with a lot of other engineers, his name is Anand Devshwar, and he said Vijay Mallya said to give him 10 days, and he's like, Vijay Mallya called him and was like, "Give me 10 days. I swear to God, I will pay you, and don't go to the press." But his wife got pregnant, and his savings was like getting depleted, and this guy's like, $100 is a lot to us. It's
Yeah,
not a lot to Vijay Mallya, but he won't even give that. And so, anyways, that they ended up going to the press, and he never pays his employees. It's just like a complete shit show. And then there's this woman, Shobha De, who is this his side chick? This is like his side chick, right? Like she shows up throughout as like somebody that works for him, but she's
yeah, but
also his
she's like
side chick.
somewhat talking trash about him too by the end of it. So I'm not sure. You're talking about the journalist lady, right?
No, I'm talking about the older Desi lady that's like she. She's not a journalist. I
But
think
what
it's
is
his
it?
side chick.
No, but dude, there must be. They named everybody's thing like what they were,
I know, but I
and
didn't
I
pay
can't
that
like
close
I don't know which
attention.
one you're talking about.
And let me see. Shobha Day.
Indian novelist, and I found her.
Okay.
Wow, she's 77 today.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's what I'm saying, dude. This was his side chick. She was just like, they never really explain who she is. I think she worked with him in the beginning,
Well,
but
she's
she
been
never
married
goes
since
away.
she has 6 children. She's been married since 1984 to Dilip Day, and
One of them probably looks like this guy,
oh, she
Vijay.
is best known for her depiction of socialites and sex in her works of fiction. And she's been referred to as the Jackie Collins of India. Ooh, scandalous.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's some side chick
Jackie,
energy.
dude, she's
That's some
hot.
friends with benefits situationship
77
energy.
years old.
Damn. Good for
That
her.
Helen Mirren action.
So the job crisis of like these employees not getting paid, and they don't make, I might like, maybe I missed something, but they don't make it clear which employee, but one of the employees,
Yeah.
his wife commits suicide. And in her suicide note, she's saying that it's because her husband hasn't been paid in 6 months.
Yeah, so I thought it was the guy that was giving the interview, the lead engineer that you
Anand
said.
Devshwar.
Yeah, but I don't think it was
Yeah.
his wife. So it was super random. And I think it seems like all of this came out of nowhere until it hit the
Hmm.
media. And it's because of that suicide. So he was being able
Yeah.
to get away with it. And then after that suicide, it comes out that he's paying international Kingfisher employees. He's
Yeah.
only not paying Indian employees. And it
That's
wasn't just
insane.
Kingfisher Airlines, it was his other businesses too. He was a classist elitist, and all that billionaire bad boy stuff is true. The I'm going to be a person for the peoples in his second life was not true.
Yeah. He thought he could get away with it in India. That's probably why he wasn't paying them. He also had like
Mhm.
yacht staff he wasn't paying, and his Formula One team was losing money. And at one point, they do this report of Kingfisher Airlines shutting down, and they're like, all good things come to an end for the king of good times. I was like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Hey, I mean, they weren't going to arrest him. He was going to
Yeah.
be able to stay in India with the other billionaires that took State Bank of India money, by the way. Somebody refers to it. They don't say what the billionaires were. I try to Google it. I don't know because I think all these guys are probably corrupt. So I
Well,
don't
we
know
talked
who.
about one billionaire in India, right?
Yeah.
Already on this podcast. And that is, what were they? The wedding. I can't believe I forgot
The Ambanis, yeah, but
Ambani's.
the
Yeah.
Ambanis had a very clear path to success, and and
Yeah.
they don't reference Ambani in this series, but they did say Steele, and the son
Oh,
says the reason why they went after VJ is because of his business was lifestyle business, alcohol and
interesting.
stuff, and they didn't go after the Steele guys because they need that business. But I don't agree with that because he didn't pay his employees, and there's no reports that Ambani's not paying his employees. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like I don't obviously we don't know him, but doesn't seem like the type of organization that's not paying their employees, and neither is Tata,
Yeah.
right? So there's
Yeah.
large organizations, and fuck this guy, dude. He wasn't paying his employees. It's obvious.
Yeah.
Nine
That's
hundred
almost up.
engineers, like come
Yeah.
on.
And then on top of that, he has a huge 60th birthday bash, giant, like in some kind of like
Same place where he
concert
did the 50th.
arena.
Same place where
Yeah.
he did the 50th.
Okay. Same
That
place where he did
opens.
the
Yeah.
50th, this time without Lionel Richie. Instead, he has Enrique Iglesias.
But they
Okay.
don't say
And
Iglesias. They
yeah, they
only
say
say
Enrique.
Enrique. So is at
Like
that point, was he the most popular Enrique on earth?
they're trying to pretend like they're so cool. They're on a first name basis with Enrique Iglesias. Okay. And it's like Enrique Iglesias is probably like, I never want to have anything to do with these people.
This is what we talked about on the Ambani wedding. So yeah, everybody, if you want to go back a few months, it was like our second episode. Listen to the Ambani wedding that we did, and I made the same joke. It's like, hey, you become a billionaire and you're just scrolling whoever's in front of you. You're just like, get me Enrique. Like,
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
fucking grow up, dude. Like
Yeah.
you're 13 years old. He's 60 years old, sucking
Yeah.
off Enrique in India, and hey, it got him in trouble, right? He shouldn't have had that
Yeah.
party.
That's the thing that really put the media and the public
Mm-hmm.
over the edge. They completely held that against him. And a lot of the employees were like, we saw that. And we were like, he literally is laughing in our face,
Mm-hmm.
not paying us, and then having this lavish birthday party. It's
Mm-hmm.
insane. And so India's version of the FBI, the CBI, started to investigate. And in October 2009, they got this loan from the IDBI bank. And it appears that he disguised the financials to make them seem like they were something they weren't. And he obtains that loan. So this is like what prosecutors eventually allege through the FBI/CBI investigation. It's wild. So this is when he starts to really go down. And they then start doing all the forensics. So after having got the loans for Kingfisher, he paid for Formula One with the loans
Yeah.
for Kingfisher, which you're not allowed to do because technically that's a diversion of funds or money laundering, which I didn't know. I was like, I didn't know that could be money laundering.
Yeah, it's because it's attempt to fraud, right? He raised that money on the guise of putting it into Kingfisher beer or whatever the financials are for that company. So yeah, you can't just go
Yeah.
take it and buy a fucking F1 company, right? Like it's insane. Like it's
Yeah,
you
that's
got to
right. Yeah.
raise for F1 because those are
Yeah,
completely separate
exactly.
financials. And I don't know, it seems like F1's a money making business, but the way this guy did it, probably not, dude. He probably, hey, one of those guys was like lobster thermidor. Was one of the Kingfisher meals. I'm like, what the fuck is lobster thermidor? So yeah, this guy's spending money. He probably put like mink seats in
Yeah,
his
exactly.
F1 car.
Did you eat lobster thermidor in Vancouver?
Yeah, we had like a chilled seafood buffet thing, but
Uh-huh.
I don't know what lobster thermidor is. I just
But
don't.
listeners, you know what Sameem did eat today? He ate fish fillet sandwiches like an uncle. Go back to our Uncle
Oh,
Chronicles
got me.
episode.
Yeah. Hey, I call Shabnam for a completely unrelated topic, but yeah, I was in the Jack in the Box drive-through, $3.59 each for these pretty yummy fish sandwiches, $7, and then I got to the drive-through and I was like, "Can I get a Diet Coke?" So it went up to $10. I was like, "Fuck."
Did you yell in the back seat, Sophie's friends? Anybody want fries?
You want
Fries?
fries?
Any Coke? Want Coke?
No, it's just a solo trip for two fish
Uh,
fillets. But yeah, Jack in the Box. I don't know why you took 30 years to get fish fillets like Shubnam's dad, Taco
yeah.
Bell back in the day, and
Yeah,
uncles love this shit, dude. They love this shit. Can you imagine if Jack in the
uh,
Box had fish fillets in the 80s, dude? That would have been our jam.
dude, I didn't realize that my dad's favorite fast food is also Yogi Bhajans. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know,
Thanks
man.
for pointing that
You
out.
said that out on Breath of Fire. We never reference Breath of Fire, by the way, because Yogi Bhajan's the scariest man on earth.
Yeah, it's so crazy. So I don't know. So okay, so then what happens is Modi, the current president of India, which, not being political, but we don't like him, he came into power on an anti-corruption platform. And so he then tightens the screws on all these billionaires. And that's when Vijay Mallya starts getting worried. And, the prosecutors really start cracking down and coming after him, but they didn't take his passport or anything. So he just fucking leaves.
He just
He leaves
leaves.
India and he goes, yeah, and he goes to London and he's like sitting there just hanging out in London.
I don't
And
understand. So India, I don't get it. So the place that colonized you is the place you can seek refuge.
of course, isn't that what we're all
That's,
doing?
hey, I didn't get colonized. So I'm about to go
Yeah.
colonize.
Anyways, so India engages in this like extradition case through Britain to try to get Britain to return Vijay Mallya so that he can face justice. And so the UK court actually held up the charges of conspiracy, cheating, and money laundering. I don't know what cheating is. It's some kind of British crime. Probably fraud. It's probably like a fraud kind of
Yeah,
a
but
crime.
that's
That's
like
what I would
that's
guess.
a great point. I wanted to bring that up as well. And I don't know what cheating is here, but his actual crime, I wrote it down because I have a theory, man. And I know
Okay.
we're saying this is not political and stuff, but whatever. It's paid feed. I'm feeling pretty good. This guy was declared a fugitive economic offender by a special court under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, PMLA. So if we actually called our representation what they are with those kind of words, I think there
Yeah.
could be like some change in society because they're calling him a cheat and a liar and a fraud. We never say liar, right? We
Yeah.
never call our politicians liars, even though they're lying nonstop. They straight up
I feel
told
like
this guy that he is a
yeah.
fugitive economic offender by a special court for cases under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. It's a very literal thing that he did, and it's, implanted next to his face for life.
But we don't care about liars after Bill Clinton.
No, I mean, come on, man. He just got gargled a little bit. He got
Dude,
multi-appendaged.
I know because I was the exact correct age that from Bill Clinton I learned what
Oral sex was.
fellatio
I think
was.
I think
At the
you actually
beginning,
mentioned this on a different podcast.
did I?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
remember which one. So
Okay.
wait, how did you learn though? He didn't simulate
Because
the act.
no, at the beginning of the scandal, I thought it was phone sex. And then as the scandal progressed and the stain on the dress and everything, like my 12, 13-year-old mind, I was like, oh my God, I figured it out.
That's actually, you did say that because you said phone sex. Hey, we got it.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can like RSS feed search phone sex in our last 57 episodes? Because you did tell that story. I
I
didn't know
know. I
what.
don't know
Yeah.
what I told it.
Hey, if we're telling stories, I can tell everybody this right now because, I'm not going to put this on the free feed. But one time when I was walking home, I was 13 or 14. I was 14 because I was in ninth grade. And one of my friends said that he was having like a baby brother or baby sister. And I was like, okay, that's cool, whatever. And then I was like, so you asked God, right? And that's how you got a boy girl? Like, because your mom wanted a certain thing, right? So you just asked to have a boy or a girl. He's like, what? He's like, do you know what sex is? He literally asked me that. And I was like, no.
Wow.
I don't know if we should keep that
Okay.
in, honestly, because it's a pretty
So
fucked
I'll
up
tell
story, dude. I was pretty old.
when I was 8, I asked my mom like where babies come from, and she told me when a man and a woman get married, then they pray to God, and then God puts the baby in the mom's stomach, which I
Oh,
feel like is fine for an 8-year-old.
but
But
that's
then
what
I
I was
started,
told, right? So it sounds
yeah.
like I was told the same thing, except I didn't get updated information.
Well, then I started watching Maury Povich, and I was like, I don't get what's this whole big deal about who the dad is. It's like just pick one, whoever is
They're all
with the
praying,
mom. That's his
multiple
dad.
dads pointing pointing at some rando bitch. I'm gonna get her pregnant. God,
Oh,
please. And then somebody
yeah,
else is trying to get her pregnant at the same time. Oh, hey,
yeah.
so multi-appendage is a thing.
Yeah, so after like a few years of Maury Povich, I was like, okay, this has got to be something more to this. Otherwise, everybody wouldn't be trying to get tests done to figure out who the dad is. So, I figured
this
it
is
out.
the longest sex education story I've ever heard. You learned about sex over a 12-year period. Like little bits and pieces from Maury
Yeah.
Povich. Hey, Speed taught you a lot, right? I
Yeah.
know I
Yeah.
know that
Speed.
now.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a sex scene
Uh,
in Speed.
no, but it was like sexual chemistry. I was like, okay, that's
Whole
one
thing the
tiny
whole
piece of the
thing is like a sex
puzzle.
scene. Like it's
Yeah.
pretty exciting. Yeah, it's like an the whole thing, exciting ass movie. What the fuck are we talking about, dude? Fuck Kingfisher, fuck VJ, and hey, Billionaires Boys Club, you are where you belong in your penthouse in London. So I don't even know. We don't have any justice.
Yeah. So his son keeps saying that he's like a political pawn and like some kind of scapegoat because Kingfisher
Mm-mm.
only owed $2 billion, but other tycoons in India owe like $150 billion to the banks and whatever. But basically, well, the conclusion is the experts say this is a systemic issue. And sure, this could have happened to a much worse person, but that doesn't mean that Vijay Mallya didn't do all the bad things he did. He still didn't pay people. Somebody's wife did commit suicide, which is also a very desi thing to like be like, I'm going to commit suicide because my husband wasn't paid
Yeah.
for 6 months, and make that was like a weird,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a Indian movie
Hey,
scene.
those
I
are
feel
real
like.
stories, right? So that's why we know about it.
Yeah.
Particularly
Yeah.
in California, I have heard of complete. I don't. There's a word for it, right? Like infanticide is killing your kid, but like to kill your entire family because of debt is a thing. It's like it's an actual disorder, or not a disorder, but it's called something. And yeah, those kind of stories are just so sad. And hey,
Yeah.
this is exactly why he got arrested, though, right? It was because of
Yeah.
that birthday party and that she committed suicide, and then Modi came in and he wanted to make an example. I do agree with the son on that, but hey, don't do it, right? If there's 50 criminals, you can't just be like, I'm the 49th criminal. Like, hey, you're gonna get caught. You're gonna get caught.
Yeah. I mean, I wish Black people in America could do that. Hey, like there's so many more murderers and white collar criminals. Why are you arresting me for some coke? Like,
I
like
mean, yeah, I mean, those kind of views are not allowed, right? Like, we want to piss off all our frat boy white listeners. Imagine if cops patrolled frat rows and not
yeah.
ghettos for the
Yeah.
last 50 years. Where do you think we'd be?
Yeah.
What do you think we'd be?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I get it, dude. This is like a not a fair system. This was not a cool story, and this guy fucked with a lot of people's lives. Yeah, I get it. He didn't murder anyone, but you think he wasn't cutting corners on Kingfisher, by the way? Like eventually,
Yeah.
like in terms of
And I
boning and
mean,
stuff.
we don't know what else he's done. Everybody's really nice to him for some reason I can't quite figure out. So like, I
Maybe he
don't
didn't do
know,
anything else. Maybe we're just being very negative. Maybe this is the only thing
Mm.
he did is to withhold funds for his employees. I don't
From
know.
yeah.
I mean,
So
whatever. Like
yeah.
what enduring qualities do billionaires have? Like I can't get over it. Like I don't see
Yeah.
any. And in today's world,
Yeah.
you tell me, hey, chai after dark at chaiafterdark.com. What value? Like, because you can look up to someone that has $2 million that worked really hard for 40 years that came from
Yeah.
nothing or something like that, right? Like there's plenty of
Mhm.
success stories to emulate. Hey, we're not here for open. Why do we keep saying we're not a podcast that gives advice? And then I feel like I'm mansplaining life to people.
We're not mansplaining. We're bitching, actually. We're not mansplaining anything. We're just like bitching about life. But okay, just to close this out, he sold the majority of his alcohol business and his Formula One team folded. And as of 2020, he remained in London fighting against his extradition.
And as of
And he's, what is he?
2025, he is 5 days ago trying to get it annulled. And they said to go fuck off. So he's still in London and India still wants him.
Trying to get it annulled?
They called it annulled in the UK court.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, so not
UK
dismissed.
laws are weird.
Hey, with those wigs.
Yeah.
Wigs are on
seriously.
too tight.
Yeah.
We could use some
Man,
wigs.
if I had to wear a wig like that to be a lawyer here, I might have been like, forget law school. That's weird.
Yeah,
Weird
we should talk
AF.
about that because you have some good insights on culture versus religion. That is the funkiest cultural thing I've ever seen, to put white wigs to emulate white old men with long white hair 250 years later. Like, it's just strange.
Like, imagine in America if we had to dress up as founding fathers to go to court. That would be really
with
weird.
with a peacoat,
Yeah.
the breeches, like pants, with the little ruffly socks that go over the breeches, and then we have the musket with the psh, 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 you clean it. Yeah, that'd be cool. I could dress up like that. You go to school, hey, in those uniforms. That'd be cool.
That's so crazy.
All right, cool. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Bad Boy Billionaires of India. You can find it on Netflix. This one was great. I actually liked it a lot. Like, it's 1 hour. It's a quick watch. We always say we give you what's quick, right?
Yeah.
Go learn about Kingfisher.
The next one's about diamonds, so that's
Yeah,
next one. I'm excited about that.
And hey, the diamond guy I think is worse. So.
Okay.
We'll see. But thank you, everyone. As always, follow on all socials. So thanks for being here.
You might as well follow us on socials and see what's coming next.
You know what? Overall, thank you for all your support.
Thank you.
Hey, we should do the jingle. We should do the Kingfisher jingle. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
I'll find it. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Bye.